Welcome back to the Sooner Surge. What a night so far it's been. The David Stone commitment to the University of Oklahoma. First, click the button, subscribe, commit to the Sooner Surge. And we appreciate all of your comments and questions, and turn on your notifications. Football season's a week away. USC was tied. David Stone committing to the University of Oklahoma. What a night it's been so far. And guys, this is the biggest commitment that I remember as a Sooner fan on the national stage. To a lot of things you can kind of pick out from tonight, and maybe even the past, and what this means moving forward. But guys, what is this? What do you think overall of just what happened tonight?
Well, I mean, as y'all know, I was hesitant, right? OU hasn't landed that guy in a while. And I know everything was pointing towards him being a Sooner, but until it happened, now I can say that I'm just, I don't know if the term relieved or excited, all of it all in one. But this commitment tonight is going to change the program, in my opinion, because the recruiting has already been on an uphill kind of route over the last 2 years that Brent Venables coming back, especially defensively, right? We knew before Venables came in, the offensive recruiting was going up. Now, the offensive recruiting under Venables and Levy is still going up, right? No issues there. But now you have the defensive recruiting going up too, and you're landing 5 stars. Now, if you think about this, 2 years they've been there, okay? The number of 5 stars they landed on the defensive side of the ball: PJ Atabare, David Stone, Peyton Bowen. Am I missing any? Is that 3?
No, it's
3 already.
3 so far, yeah.
Which, guys, it just doesn't – we can't say that's happened in Norman in a long time to even get 1. And now it's becoming – you're getting 1 to 2 a cycle? I mean, game changer. And this guy, David Stone, is a flat-out game changer. If you watched any of him tonight, and him and his partner Jaden Jackson there. Now they're both at OU. I mean, Todd Bates, and I don't know if y'all saw OU football Twitter. Somebody else is coming pretty soon, according to Todd Bates.
Yeah, Todd Bates was at the practice field as the announcement happened, and he said the power line just got better. You're going to be shocked on the next one, I think were his words on that. So a little interesting, kind of looking at the timeline. The one you would think that's next is Nigel Smith, September 8th. But
what about McKinley?
Maybe we're all shocked. Yeah, maybe we're all shocked.
1st.
McKinley's, September 1st. That could be our shock. Maybe that's what David Stone meant by he's going to shock a lot of people. Like, maybe the guys he's bringing with him. Who knows? David Stone's an excellent recruiter. We talk about Kevin Sperry all the time for the 25 class, how he could win like recruiter of the year for what he's done there. David Stone is that guy for the 24 class. Recruited Xavier Robinson, Michael Patterson McDonald, and Jaden Jackson all to OU while being uncommitted. He was not officially an OU commit at the time, and he committed all those guys there. Jaden Jackson was very close to being south of the Red River at Texas. Really enjoyed his official visit there. And David Stone, he said it on Twitter, like, I can't lie, bro. This isn't it. Like, you can't go there.
Yeah, his tweet of shocking the world was about committing to the University of Oklahoma. It's pretty clear now.
Yeah, and here's the thing too with Stone. I mean, he's going to totally change the rest of this cycle, hopefully for the good. But the other thing is, I don't think it's said enough. And this guy, he could have dragged this out till signing day. Let's be honest. He could have, as his status as a 5-star top defensive lineman, if he wanted to drag this out till this whenever signing day, he could have done it. He didn't do that. Kudos to David Stone for that, in my opinion. I know people were saying, why didn't he commit earlier? Guys, it's only the second week of high school football, okay? And he's committed, and OU has not played a game yet either this year. And he's committed to OU before they play a regular season game. kudos to David Stone for not dragging this out. I know people jumped on Eli Bowen last week saying, great job, Eli. It was just you committed and not a whole lot of drama with it. Hey, people can say there's been drama with David Stone, but he's committed, and he's committed before the season starts. Bravo. Bravo.
Hey, and
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Right as we're recording it, David Stone just recorded his second sack of the night, first as an Oklahoma Sooner commit. And yeah, Jay, you mentioned it. 5-star defensive linemen do not commit this early often. Most of the time, you want to talk about guys committing like in the All-American game, or Under Armour All-American, or the Army All-American game. Most of them are 5-star defensive linemen. And David Stone's committed on August 26th. PJ Adebawore obviously wasn't a 5-star when he committed to OU, but he's another one. He committed, I think, in July last year. It's kind of different. Stone's marketed everything so well. So, like you said, he could have drug it to signing day. I know Stone said before, NIL doesn't matter to him. That's not going to win his recruitment. That seems to be very truthful when you're looking at the calendar. It's week 2, first game on ESPN for IMG, and he's committed. He could have took it to early signing day if he wanted to maybe enroll late, national signing day, and drew up that NIL number he could get from the 6 schools that are fighting for him. But no, he knew you got to wrap it up. I think he was ready for it to be over, knew where that Oklahoma is where he wants to be, from Del City, grew up 20 miles away from Norman. What better place to be than back home with one of the best defensive line coaches in the country in Todd Bates, and Brent Venables, one of the best defensive minds in all of college football.
Yeah, and you mentioned 3 guys earlier, Jay. PJ Adebawore, Peyton Bowen, David Stone. The dichotomy of those guys versus, and nothing against these guys, but a Bookie, maybe a Clayton Smith. These guys are different. These are, extreme talents. These are generational guys. There is to me a dichotomy in the talent, and those guys were 5-stars. So nothing against them. I'm just saying these guys are a little elevated above that. And the second thing I'm going to say is, to me, this solidifies that David Stone did what he wanted to do. And I think that's great, because everyone's heard the rumblings, right, during the recruiting process about maybe the mom and this, but this solidifies that David Stone is, as he says, he's coming home. He's where he wants to be. The lure of the Palace on the Prairie of Brent Venables. And I'll tell you another dichotomy. Venables and what he's recruiting versus what Lincoln Riley would have been recruiting had he still been in Norman. Guys, that was a blessing in disguise a couple of years ago. Maybe everyone doesn't want to admit that yet, but this is exactly what everyone thought they were going to get with Venables and Bates and staff. This is why they wanted them here.
Yeah, but you got to prove it
for nights like tonight, that they could basically sign these guys, lock them in. And that's the last thing I'll say about the Venables thing is the commitment policy. He's in, guys. He's locked.
Yeah, but the one thing you said, you have to now win on the field if you're OU. Period. Bar none. You can recruit all you want, but if you don't start winning, if they have another bad year, it's not going to be good. So got to follow this up with a great year. And if you do that, I think heading into the SEC, you can't be in a better spot if you're OU right now.
Yeah, we've talked about it for, I guess since last December, early signing day for class of 23, chosen class of, if OU wants to be back to that national championship level, they have to have the hoss in the middle. They have to have that elite SEC defensive tackle, nose tackle, and David Stone. That's going to be his role. And then you if you're going to a 4-line set, you got his best friend, his brother, and one of the best nose tackles in the country, in Jaden Jackson, alongside him. At IMG, they're full of talent. Pretty much everyone on the national team is a 3-star nationally ranked recruit. A lot of 5-stars. I think it's over 4, maybe even 5 5 stars on IMG. And David Stone and Jaden Jackson, like, look like the two best players on the team. Like, you can make the argument for them. The plays they've made tonight on ESPN2 against St. Joe's, the plays they made last week to open their senior year, like, these guys are really, really good football players. I know Jerem mentioned the past 5 stars that OU landed. Those guys mentioned were only 5 stars in one recruiting service. The difference now is OU's now got 3 247 composite 5 stars, to where, like, when you're that status, like, it's different. Like, we're making the argument for Peyton Bowen to play as a freshman. He's already on freshman All-American watch list. PJ Adebawore is another guy that could have a really big freshman year. I could definitely see a future where he's on that same All-American freshman All-American team at the end of the season, depending on how he kind of works his way into that defensive end room this year. It's just OU's been able to land, like, with the new staff and Brent Venables, Todd Bates, Jay Valai, Brandon Hall. Who else am I missing? Miguel Chavis. Yeah, Emmett Jones. I was going more on the defensive side of the ball.
Gotcha.
Of like, they're landing these just ball players, these SEC guys, the guys that are going to be, they're going to be playing on Sundays. They're going to be probably first round picks for sure at the latest, day 2 guys. And that's starting to become kind of the norm for OU. Tonight jumped up to 11th so far. Really just getting started. The second 5-star of the class in David Stone. Taylor Tatum. That's another one, offense side of the ball. Not sure if you guys watched him the other night open his senior season through a touchdown pass, rush for a 60-yard touchdown run. Just very impressive. It's a great time to be a Sooner.
Yeah. Hey, I'm sure we'll hear more about this recruitment now that he's committed, but how confident do you think OU staff was? And the reason I'm asking you this is, if you go back to Big 12 media days, there were a few things that Brent Venables said, one specifically at Miami, okay? He had to have known, I think, that, hey, this guy's coming to OU, like, he's not going to go play at Miami. I don't know. It's just something I was thinking about tonight when he committed. I'm thinking, why mention Miami at that point, right? I mean,
the Devon Mitchell thing just happened. That was
that's true.
Pretty recent at that point. James Nesta was another guy who beat out Miami for. So those were within like a 3-week span from when Venables made those comments. It's just, the staff probably was very confident at that point, as OU's where David Stone wants to be. Jeremy alluded to it. He makes the decision. That's where it is. He wanted to come home. He grew up in the 405 to get to return, be the hometown hero. I know one thing's for sure. David Stone signs that the collective deal for the Fanatics jersey, NIL jerseys. That's going to be the highest selling jersey next year on campus at OU, promise you. I'll be wearing a David Stone jersey around campus. I would really like the Unity number 9, David Stone, like what he wears in the photo shoots. It's just, he's the hometown hero. Gerald McCoy was that guy. We've talked about it a lot. He was that guy when he was at OU. 5-star. Came, 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft 2010. David Stone's on that same path from the 405 to OU. Now it's just to get on the field at Memorial Stadium and,
and I'm
on
sure
his way to the NFL.
Here a little bit.
Gerald McCoy probably recruited him just as much.
Yeah. You've been in the ear.
He I think it was the spring game. He finally got to hang out with him quite a bit because he was pretty vocal on Twitter. Gerald McCoy is one of the more vocal former Sooners when it comes to a Twitter game, and was very much OU's where you need to be, young fella. Like McCoy lived it. A really similar situation growing up in this area to stay home and play for the Crimson and Cream.
Yeah. I don't follow. I'm not an inside recruiting guy, but I'll say this just based on evidence that I've seen tonight, and just the way he handled that. It was very quick. It wasn't drawn out. It was a very decisive decision. It wasn't one in which he played games. And while the image seems to have been, and the connotation seemed to be, this guy's just playing with people, I think he's been pretty honest with the staff at OU, is what I would say. And they probably were pretty confident. I don't know that because I don't have any of that information, but he just seems like a really loyal dude, when even though the image that has been portrayed and conveyed to a lot of people is, I don't know about this guy, but to me, this dude's got a solid head on his shoulders. He is going to be
a doctor.
Elite.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's going to be elite. And guys, the Danny Okoyes of the world, the Nigel Smiths, maybe the Don McKinleys, they may be following suit. This could be, and 2 weeks ago, Sooner fans, and I was one of them, like, look, man, I don't know, but I think the narrative has changed. It's no longer what if we land these guys, or it's when we land these guys. Yeah, it's changed.
Yeah, David Stone marketed himself very well. It's kind of a facade. Like, I mean, I'm 18 years old, freshman at OU. If I had that following he had, where grown men like you guys, I mean, I'm a grown man too, I guess. But you know, people older than him are so concerned over every little thing he does, what he's posting on his Instagram story, what team it is, what he's saying to On3, to 247, to Rivals, whoever it may be, in post game and just interviews along the recruitment trail, to where they're freaking out all in his mentions. Yeah, I would probably be saying some stuff too to send some fan bases into frenzies on social media. And I think it's over, really. He's at OU. He's gonna recruit for OU from here on out. So the all-in chip was turned in. So yeah, it's just, man, it's so exciting to finally have that guy after the past, I mean, pretty much my whole life of guys that you should get and you don't get them on the defensive line, and it's finally happening.
Yeah.
Yep. What a start. What a start to.
Real quick before that's the last thing I'll say. Let's just face facts. I don't think under the previous regime, OU lands David Stone, and I think that's not like a breaking news. I know he's an OU. He likes it at OU, but I just don't see with Grinch and Riley that I don't think he would have ended up at OU.
Yeah, he wouldn't play third or fourth down. It's really hard to get to the NFL as a day one top 10 pick when you're not playing the two most important plays in football. There's a lot of them in each game, and for whatever reason, the Alex Grinch defense, it's an interesting philosophy. I guess to each their own, to not play your stars, but yeah, it's David Stone wouldn't be at OU if this previous staff was still around.
That's right. And guys, what a way to start game week at the University of Oklahoma with landing David Stone. If you are not subscribed to the Sooner Surge, click the button immediately. Be decisive, just like Stone was, because we've got a lot coming up this week with our Sooner Surge podcast, with a game day preview on Friday, some other interviews coming up. You don't want to miss it. And guys, it's been a great night. Till next time, Boomer.